I'm Neil, and I'm the teacher.
And I'm Sean, and I'm the deal maker.
Together,
we're the Rise Guys.
A buyer asks you one simple question, and your whole reputation rides on the answer. The professionals who never get caught flat-footed all share the same broad base of knowledge. Let me show you what every agent is actually expected to know. A client sits across from you and asks one simple question. Maybe it is about an acreage outside the city. Maybe it is about a commercial lease or a condo or a rental property they want to buy. In that moment, your whole reputation rides on your answer. The professionals who never get caught flat-footed all share one thing. They have a broad base of knowledge that covers the entire board, not just the kind of deal they do most often. This breadth is not accidental. It is the professional standard, and RECA sets that bar wide on purpose because it exists to protect the consumer. The public relies on you across every kind of transaction, so knowing more is simply how you serve people properly. Let me walk you through exactly what every agent is expected to know. So here's the first half of the picture. You are expected to have real working knowledge across 4 kinds of property, rural property, with everything that comes with acreage, commercial property and how those deals are structured, property management, which is the rental side of the business, and residential property, which is the bread and butter for most agents. But knowing the property types is not enough on its own. Underneath all of them sits a technical layer you also have to command. You need to understand market areas so you can read local conditions and price a property honestly. And you need to be comfortable with legal descriptions and title searches because every property you touch has a legal identity that you are responsible for understanding. That is a wide base, and it is exactly the base RECA expects a professional to stand on. Once you understand the property and the technical facts around it, you have to do the hardest thing of all. You have to put a price on it. Valuations sit right on top of everything else because a good valuation pulls together every piece we just talked about. It combines the property type, the market area, and the legal facts into one defensible number. This is where all of your knowledge comes together, and it is where you protect your client's money. A professional who can value a property well can defend that number instead of just guessing at it. That means the consumer gets honest, grounded advice they can actually act on. That depth is what separates a real professional from someone who is winging it, and it is a core part of what RECA expects you to bring to every deal. Knowledge is only half of the job. The other half is putting the right agreement in place, and RECA recommends specific contracts for exactly that reason. When you represent a buyer, you use a buyer representation agreement. When you represent a seller, you use a seller representation agreement. These spell out clearly who you are working for and what you owe them. And when you are facilitating a deal without taking on full representation, RECA recommends a transactional brokerage agreement to keep that relationship clear as well. Think of these contracts as the tools that protect everyone at the table. They protect the consumer because there is no confusion about their role, and they protect you because your obligations are written down and agreed to up front. Using the right agreement for the right situation is simply part of doing this job the professional way. Now, I know that is a lot to hold in your head at once, so let me tell you how to build it without drowning. Do not try to master everything on the same afternoon. Work it one layer at a time. Start with the property types, then add the technical layer of market areas, legal descriptions, and title searches. Practice valuation on real listings you can actually pull up and study, and read each of the recommended contracts until the language feels familiar instead of intimidating. As you go, keep a running note of the areas that still feel shaky. Those notes are gold. Send your questions in before our Thursday live session, and we will work through the hard ones together in plain language. That steady habit is how a wide field turns into knowledge you can actually rely on when a client is sitting across from you. So here is what I want you to carry into every deal from now on. Know all 4 property types, not just the one you do most often. Master the technical layer of market areas, legal descriptions, title searches, and valuation, and reach for the right RECA recommended contract for every relationship you take on, whether that is a buyer representation agreement, a seller representation agreement, or a transactional brokerage agreement. This breadth is the professional standard, and it is exactly the kind of thing the exam will test you on, so it is worth building now. More than that, it is how you protect the consumer and earn real trust, because the client in front of you can feel the difference between someone who knows the whole board and someone who does not. RECA sets this bar wide because it protects the public, and clearing it is what makes you a professional. If there is an area you are still wrestling with, bring it to our Thursday live webinar, and we will work through it together. That is the show for this week. I will see you in the next one. New webinar summary every week. Subscribe so you never miss one.